What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the show. It is the weekend, and we're not stopping till we hit that 10,000x, baby. Boom! To the moon, to Mars, to Pluto. Not a planet anymore. Out of this world, out of this universe, in a different galaxy. Don't know a lot of my astronomy and planets and stuff. I know the basics, But however, you get the point. Very excited to finally have the Sloth back on the show. I remember the last stream we did. I don't remember, but I'm sure it was a good one. We talked about something good, I'm sure. But yeah, we're back on talking about V3 Liquidity. Get your questions in the chat. We talk about a lot of different stuff, deep dive in a couple different things, and talk about liquidity, pulls, ranges, 9mm, stuff like that. Difference. We'll go through the quick basics. I know Sloss went through it 10,000 times. We'll go through the basics real quick, just to get you on the same page. So hopefully you get to learn a lot if you're interested in liquidity providing and all that good stuff. So anyways, without further ado, we can chat in just a minute. Welcome back to the show, Crypto Sloth.
Hey, what's up, Max? Glad to be back, buddy.
You're back and you're locked and loaded. Is that what you would say?
That's what I have said. That's what people would say, might say. And that's what you said.
The 9mm. You know what? Maybe I just mute all my tabs, but I didn't never hear the GUN noise on there, but I keep hearing, and Coffee talks about it. He says it's like very alarming sometimes when you do a trade or something. Is that when it comes up?
Oh yeah, there's like a gunshot every time you do a trade or whatever.
No, I gotta say it now. Just got demonetized. Why'd you do that?
Bro, I thought you don't monetize.
That's true.
Why are you worried?
I forgot. That's true. It's just funny. Like any DEX, I never thought about a DEX making sounds. I mean, I don't want to think about what 9-inch would the sounds that would be on there, but just a DEX in general making noises when you make trades and stuff. It's kind of funny.
It's funny now when you they have the liquidity bar slider. It's the dick with butt logo.
I saw. Yeah, I think I did see that. I come across that,
which is really funny.
It is pretty funny. It's pretty
built-in marketing. You get to play with dick with butt while LPing.
Well, that's definitely one thing a lot of people ask for, and they're like. Speaking of marketing too, real quick. Nobody should take it personal if I ignore or remove distractions from people shilling this or that monkey coin in the comments on any platform. When I feel like it's taken away from the message or it's just off topic or something like that. If I went to shill Hex or PulseChain in somebody's thread and they muted me or hit it or whatever, I could care less because it's their prerogative, their platform. So I just want to put it out there. If you're just nice, respectful, it'll be fine. But please do not get offended if I don't let everyone use my threads and my brand stuff as to shield their own token and their monkey. Now, that being said, Sloth, what monkey coin do you have to sell us today?
Oh, brother, I got so many. I can't even begin to tell you. Can't even begin to start. I can make 5 right now too. I got to add a couple more to the list.
That would take
I'm actually offended, Max, because I've been I've been chilling in your timeline real hard on your Twitter threads, and you keep muting me. And I'm like, I thought we were friends, man. Come on, help me out.
I don't know. First of all, I'm pretty sure the platform won't tell anyone if you are blocked and muted at the same time, which is what I would have to do to you to never see your stuff. Literally, if I've got you silenced on all platforms, I can only communicate you through Telegram, specifically through a different username and a burner account.
Well, I was about to say a good place to start is to not have me on stream, but I don't think there's much to do about that one right now.
It's only 2 avenues to talk to you, either in person, on stream, or a burner Telegram account. Everything else has been shut down. I cannot take your information anymore.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? There is a Telegram that I have where I'm pretty responsive on. If you want to learn more about that one.
How much do I pay per month for it?
Oh, for you, buddy, I'll give it to you for $800 a month.
Do I get a promo code? Can you is it on the platform? Can you literally generate promo code? Can you do custom ones?
Yeah.
That's actually kind of cool. You say it like that. That's
cool.
I
can do that. That's exactly what I can do.
See, Sloth makes fun of me for not monetizing. I make fun of him for monetizing. We're having a good time here. We like to have a good time. Okay.
You guys should have seen us in Vegas. There's a lot of tension. We almost fought.
That's they say Hexy Bastard and Coffee's fight was epic. The words that Sloth and I thought about shouting at each other, that would have been a different story for sure.
Yeah. We would have had to charge people for that. Of course, I would take 100% of the purse because Max doesn't take money. But
we would negotiate it. It would be like, all right, I'll do it only if Sloth takes 100%.
I have a brand and a reputation to maintain. Everybody.
That's true. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that, but okay. Feel free, everyone, monetize your hearts out. I think I'm the only person. Again, I'm not bragging about any stuff. I was thinking about it today. I'm like, oh, Sami doesn't monetize. I'm like, oh, he does have the donation thing, and he does use ref links every once in a while. So funny enough, today I came to the realization I think I'm literally the only person in the community who avoids at all costs any type of consulting and monetizing or otherwise, even though opportunities come my way actually pretty often. So again, that's not a virtue signal or anything. It's just funny. Like I think I'm the only person who doesn't.
I don't know, man. I
keep it
saw
up.
some virtue being signaled there.
I'm just recounting facts right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Steelman monetizing real quick too. I think I know, right? I think I hope people who provide value find a way to get paid for it. I think that's very useful. I just don't want to, but like, I feel like everyone doing it who actually provides value, who's not just some group that just, jerks around every day and doesn't really do anything. It just makes a bunch of fake calls and just entertainment, dopamine, all that stuff. If you're actually providing value and you're selling a product like that, like that's good for the world.
I was about to say that's probably a different paid group if everyone's jerking around all day. I'm sure that's out there.
I wouldn't know, right? I wouldn't.
It's probably not crypto related, but I'm sure it's out there, buddy.
There's definitely a group for anyone who wants to do anything they want in the world. So I'm glad we went down this path the first 7 minutes of the stream.
You keep hey Max, you got to keep everyone guessing. You never know when we hit the live button.
You never know when I'm going to start monetizing either. No expectations. I may at any moment. However, I wouldn't count on it. I'm not monetizing advice, but I would not place bets in that. I can't even say the words, otherwise it'll be advice in some way. So think about the words I might have said, and then understand that I did not say them. There you go.
You're just gonna have to get Beer to take over to redo your intro.
Beer. Oh yeah, that's true. Thanks for pointing that out. It is literally an intro.
I'm here to pick. I'm here to pick the pieces up for you, buddy.
It's true. Well, I mean, speaking of that, we got a big coming soon sign for 9mm under construction. However, Sloth has told me, or at least inadvertently let the cat out of the bag, that this site actually does work. There's a few services that they provide, a couple of which are liquidity. The V2 DEX you have here, 300K TVL, and the V3 locked up 14 million.
Yeah, NIM has been doing very well.
What do you think? I remember you talking about 9AM a while back, and why? Maybe you just start with why is V3 liquidity on PulseChain important? What does it enable versus V2? Like, what can't you do?
Yeah, no, it's really great that we have it on PulseChain. If you click that M button right where volume is, you also see like month by month the volume has just been trending up. Yeah, and like April's not even over, and there's already more TVL in April than in March, which is pretty dope.
That's a good chart.
Yeah. But what was your question? Why is V3 good for PulseChain? Well, we have more liquidity options, man, versus just like V2 and Balancer. So you get concentrated liquidity now, which means instead of putting all your coins in a range between 0 and infinity, or multiple coins with Balancer, the PHUX DEX from 0 to infinity, you can now place them in a discrete range between two defined prices. And so that creates more efficient order execution for the users, and it gets more liquidity out there on the ecosystem, which is great. And it allows people different mechanisms for their crypto, whether it's making passive income, buying tokens or selling tokens. Like all of those options are now available via liquidity providing in a much more efficient manner because we have a V3 DEX.
So V2 versus V3, so you get the symmetrical liquidity versus concentrated in a way too. Like how does that enable for users and for the market? I guess what are the advantages in using V3 versus V2 as a user, and then for the market, how does the market benefit?
Yeah. Well, for the user, it's really beneficial because they can, one, buy or sell a position via liquidity. So instead of having to market buy or market sell, they can kind of set up a range above or below the price. And when price gets into that range, they'll automatically be moving from the token they put in to the other token. And so depending on what you put in would be if you're buying or selling.
And on V2, just to parallel that with V2, you could do that in V2, but you'd have to it'd be across the entire range. You have to wait longer. You'd have to wait for a bigger run up or run down.
Longer. It's slower. and you'll never get 100% out of one token into another with V2. With V3, you can be 100% into one, and then if the price moves through your range, like it starts below, and then you put a liquidity cushion above the price, and the price goes above your range, you move completely from the token you put in to the other token in the pair, which is great. And Red Squirrel brings up a good point in the chat. So you can still do full range with V3, which I really like a lot, because the fee structure on V2 and V3 is different in terms of how it's paid to the liquidity provider. In V2, the fees are auto-compounded back into the pool. With V3, they're sequestered, and you can harvest them without having to end the position. So it's a lot easier to keep track of fees and like the income you're making. But for the market, why it's really good is because at the ranges where there's a higher amount of liquidity due to people providing V3, the order execution is better. So I think a really good example of this is stablecoins, where, assuming everything's good with the stablecoin and they're not depegging, like let's say we have like let's use PulseChain tokens, CST and liquid loans, for example, USDL or EARN, PXDC. You have two of these coins paired in a liquidity pool together. In a V2 system, they're spread from 0 to infinity. So technically there are coins being provided at like when one is worth 1 million versus it would take 1 million tokens to buy one of the other token. And vice versa in the other way. Well, stable coins, that's not really efficient, right? Because at most they're going to trade between like 99 cents and $1.01, assuming all of the redemption mechanisms and they're supposed to be pegged. And so you have all this liquidity placed. Let's say you have $100 million of liquidity. Maybe there's only like $1 million in the range where actual trading is going to occur. So there's just worse order execution and a lot of wasted liquidity that is never actually being used to trade. And so with V3, you can take all that $100 million, place it between 99 cents and $1.01. Now all $100 million are actively being used to trade. And so that's a really good example of how like V3 provides a service to the market by providing more coins for people to trade at desirable prices.
So I noticed a couple of the V3 dexes I've been to, I didn't see farms. Is it just a platform thing, or is just farming easier to do on V2 or
farming is typically a V2 type of income stream, and that's because like it's a lot easier, right? So when you have an LP position on V2, your receipt for that position is a PRC20 or a token, and because all the tokens are all distributed from 0 to infinity, when you put money in, the tokens you get out, the LP tokens that you get is your representation of the pool. And so each token is worth the exact same amount of the pool. And the amount of the pool that you own is just determined by how many of those coins that you have. With V3, this isn't possible to do it with a token because people own liquidity at different ranges, right? So say the price of a token is $1 and somebody has tokens out at $10 to $20. And then one person has all of the liquidity between like at that dollar range, right? Well, they shouldn't have an equal amount of the pool because they put in different amount of money at different places, right? It's not equally distributed everywhere. So a token, like the person who put money above the price shouldn't have rights to the liquidity at the current price because they've defined it to be at a higher price rate than what it's at now. And that's why V3 positions are represented by NFTs instead, because those can track the data necessary for the tokens placed into the liquidity pool and can be basically you can set the metadata with enough variables so that it keeps track of where all the stuff is and everybody's entitled to what they put in.
And it just makes me think of too, burning liquidity. For people talk about for too, setting up a position and then I get, would you just send the tokens or the NFTs to a burn address? And then
you send it to a dead address, like the 0x0001. But you can do the same for V3 too, just send the NFT there. Like that part isn't different. The part for farming that's different is that it's a lot easier to keep track of how much rewards people get and to keep track of like how much someone has of the liquidity pool in a smart contract because every token is the same. So it's the only variable you have to look at is how many tokens has this wallet distributed. If you're trying to farm on V3, that's a little more complicated because not only do you need to keep track of how much liquidity people are playing with, but you need to, one, keep track of NFTs, not tokens. So it's not like a simple ratio. You also need to keep track of which positions are in the money and which ones are not in the money, the percentage they're in the money, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just much more complicated, and it just doesn't seem worth it when you can just have all the incentivized farms on a V2 system. And V3, the only incentive is the fees that you earn. But you can earn a higher percentage of fees because of the liquidity being concentrated. So the amount of fees you can earn is a lot higher, or has the potential to be higher.
So why would people use V2? Like, I guess you made a couple examples. Why would you want to use V2 over V3? Like different versus new coins versus, anything. Like what are the things that people are trying to optimize for using one over the other for a new launch, for example?
So the V3 has a lot of advantages, but in of itself, if you only use the concentrated liquidity mechanisms, that would provide some problems, especially if you're like a token founder, for example. And so if you're trying to found a token or bootstrap a token for a protocol or a meme coin, whatever it might be, there's a lot of advantage to having coins be on the market at every single price that could exist, right? Because you want your thing to go up for as long as possible. So if you have a concentrated liquidity as the main liquidity position of that, if you only have concentrated liquidity and not any V2 liquidity, then at some point there are no coins for people to be able to trade above and below a certain price range. And so you've capped your token can only go so high, and your token can only go so low, because price is a function of the ratio of the tokens in the pool. And if there are no tokens to be traded with, then the price literally cannot go higher. Like, it's just not possible. This is not a situation that ever actually exists, but like theoretically, that's kind of what it means. Theoretically, that's what's happening. So by setting a good amount of the initial liquidity in V2, you know that there's always coins to be traded at every single price. There might be a lot of slippage, there might be a lot of volatility, but price can trade from 0 to infinity.
Gotcha. I just want to go to a pair to.
And for other people, like the individual, maybe they don't want to do a concentrated position. They just want to have their LP in there forever and just earn those kind of fees on like a full range V3 position. There's also strategies to use V2 as an income source as well for more long-term positions.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, it seems like V2 would be one of the things, if you want to provide liquidity, you didn't care like about the volatility or that maybe the assets, you think they're going to run together or whatever, you're going to leave it in for a long time, just sit it and forget it type of thing. V2 sounds like the place where, okay, I could just provide liquidity, forget about it, come back later, hopefully I'll have more coins and price will be up and all that stuff. V3 seems like much more, I need to manage, like if it goes out of range, I'm not earning fees anymore. And well, what range do I think it's going to stay in? A lot more, I guess, maintenance on that side. Is that one of the the things?
It has the potential to have a lot more maintenance, especially if you're trying to maximize certain things like fees and income. But V3 positions can be just as hands off as V2 positions. Like, there's nothing stopping you from walking away from the computer and not paying attention to it. But if you have a certain goal like buying or selling, then you'd want to pull the position when the impermanent loss works out in your favor.
Just trying to get this website to, hopefully it'll load, because I wanted to look at some of the, here we go. So for example, a bunch of different coins here. I just want to click on WPLS DAI and look at when you're going to add liquidity, what does it actually look like in the options and stuff. Mm-hmm. And just talking about burn liquidity real quick too. Like, what is the strategy in burning liquidity? Like, why would you, I guess, what would people get out of doing that for projects? What does it mean to the user, and what does it mean to, is it part of the tokenomics? Like, how does it factor in?
Yeah. So I think a good thing to start with is describing like what a rug pull is, like the scam of a rug pull. And that's when somebody prices a bunch of liquidity in the pool at the beginning, people buy up the token. And so that, let's say that's it's like some meme coin versus Pulse. They put the meme coin in Pulse, and people are buying the meme coin. Pulse is going into the pool. So the person who set that position is earning Pulse from that coin that they set the liquidity position in. And let's assume that's like the majority of the liquidity is in that one position. Well, if they remove that liquidity, then all that Pulse that was put in gets removed from the market, and the person who started the position owns all of it. And now there's no liquidity to be there at all. So there's very little coins to trade. It could go from like, say, there's $1 million of LP to like $3,000 for whatever reason. So all of the liquidity, all the backing value has been taken away from that coin, and people who bought it up are just left holding a token where there's no real liquidity to be able to exit. There are no coins to sell into, or there's no coins to sell for. Very little. Like if you sold, you would just send the price down to zero, which is what happens because people are like, oh, they rugged, let me just get what I can out, and the price goes like basically to zero. When you burn liquidity, you are basically saying, hey, these tokens are in a liquidity pool, and the receipt to redeem those tokens no longer exists. So when you participate in this ecosystem, or when you participate in this token, you know for a fact that there's going to at least be some baseline liquidity that exists. So essentially a rug in that sense can't happen from the team. Now there are ways that they can still do it, but if you're buying Pulse and putting Pulse into that liquidity pool, that position can't pull that Pulse out without selling a token. They have to sell a token to get the Pulse out instead of pulling the position and getting that Pulse out, for example.
Gotcha. Just want to go through the interface here too. So on this one, so we got 0, so different fee tiers and stuff, 90%. So why, and I see most of them are like 1% on here. Why is this one, for example, 92% people pick the 0.25%?
Yeah, so those are the fees associated with trades on that given pool. So every trade in the 1%, 1% of the trade gets paid to the LPers, 0.25% the same, 0.05, 0.01. So with the fees, what you're saying is like, hey, like I'm providing these coins to the market to trade, but if you're in the 1% pair, you're like, if you want to trade with my tokens, like it's going to cost you more money to get access to my liquidity. The lower it is, that's like, hey, like I'm providing liquidity and it's very, very cheap to use. So for something like Wrap, Pulse, and DAI, that's a pair that usually pairs Pulse with tokens that are really popular, like PulseChain, ETH, BTC, whatever it might be, that are paired with stable coins that has a lower percent fee tier because it's making it easier for people to trade into and out of. It's a very popular pair. People are trading Pulse for DAI a lot. And so they're making the barrier to entry low to be able to get access to that pool. Stable coins usually have a very low percent fee, like the 0.01 or the 0.05. More exotic pairs, say like a meme coin with Pulse, those usually go to like 1%, or like exotic pairs of like 2 meme coins together. Those are usually going to like the 1% pool. So it's like more exotic, usually typically the higher fees, and then the more like stable pools, like those are on the lower end typically.
Okay.
Yeah. And the way the routers work, the in-house routers as well as the DEX aggregators, they're going to go through the lower tier fee tiers first, because you're getting a better deal by putting your money through there. So it's only when it moves out of range for that position will it go up to the next pool. So there's a bunch of LP, like in this one, the 0.25%, and you put LP in the 1%. Well, your coins may not be used for liquidity as often as the 0.25% tier. So even though you're charging a premium for your tokens, because very little volume is going through it, you're not really earning that many fees. Versus the 0.25%, they're getting a smaller cut of each trade, but because more trades are going through it, they're getting at the end more money.
So the lower tier, more volume but less fees per transaction, but maybe more volume could make up for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just typed in 1 million Pulse here, and by default it's asking for 75 DAI, and then we have ranges and stuff here. So, and the APR up here as well. So if you adjust the ranges, you can adjust them closer. So why, when you adjust it closer to this way towards the price, it increases the APR? Yeah.
So that's the result of like the concentrated liquidity feature of V3. So the way to conceptualize fees on for liquidity providing is that you are providing a service to the market. You are saying, hey, market, here are coins, my coins. Here are 2 coins that I have, and you are allowed to trade with them. And you're providing a service, one, and you're taking on risk. And the risk you're taking on is impermanent loss, in that whenever a trade occurs, you are always taking the bad side of the trade, just by definition. So by liquidity providing, you're providing a service and you're taking on risk. And to be compensated for those two things, you get paid in fees. Now, fees are paid proportional to everybody who's providing liquidity. On V2, that's really easy to calculate because everybody's providing liquidity at every single price equally. So you just distribute it based on the number of tokens that each person has. In V3, it's a little bit harder because some people can provide in range, out of range, etc. And so let's say, for example, Max, you're providing $100,000 of liquidity in a pretty wide range. And then I come in and I provide $10,000 in a much shorter range. Your $100,000 at the current price that the coin is trading at may only have, say, $2,000 of liquidity at that price. So of your $100,000, only $2,000 of it is actively being used for trading. But me, I put all 100K at the price at the price the coin is currently trading at. And so even though you have more money in the pool, I have more money being actively traded with. And so the only people that get paid other fees are the people with money actively being traded with, because you're providing a service. If your coins aren't servicing anybody, then you don't get compensated. So the tighter you bring it in, the more of your money is being used at the current price to service the market. Therefore, more of the fees that are being earned are going to be going to you, which is why the APR is going up. Because you're taking the same amount of money, but you're putting it in a tighter range closer to price.
And that is if you're putting in ranges that other people aren't providing a lot of liquidity at.
Yeah. Right? If you do that, or ranges where so the less people providing liquidity, the less competition there is, because fees are finite. They're determined by volume. They're a discrete number, and they're distributed proportionally to people providing liquidity. Well, if there isn't much liquidity there, then the pie, for example, that it's being distributed to is much smaller. So each person gets a larger amount of money. As the pie gets bigger, there's more people, there's more money to distribute that finite number across. So each individual person is going to get less, or it's going to take more money to get the same amount as when the liquidity was smaller.
So in this example, I brought the range pretty tight. And in between 4077 and 4087 in the range DAI per pulse, APR 710%.
Yep.
Now, why doesn't everyone just do that?
Yeah. Mostly because of impermanent loss. So if the price goes above your higher range, the 4 zeros and an 8, you're left completely in DAI. If price goes below 4 zeros and a 7.7, you're completely into Pulse. And Pulse is a volatile asset, so you're like plus minus 7% is what I saw. Can you hover over it again? Hover over it, yeah. Minus 7% plus 5%, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Price can move for Pulse because it's crypto and it's a volatile asset more than 7% to the down direction and more than 5% in the up direction in a single day. And so even though the APR of that the quoted APR is 700%, the question you have to ask yourself is, how long are you earning that 700% for? It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be 5 minutes. And let's say you provide it right before Pulse does a massive 10x run up. Well, it's probably not going to your price range ever again. So people bought up all your Pulse, you're left in DAI, you're left out of that 10x price run, and you earn 710% APR, but maybe you only earned it for 2 hours. So it's like, is it really that special that you earn triple-digit APRs for 2 hours? No, not at all, because you didn't earn that much money. Maybe it would have been better to provide a longer range at, say, maybe 30%, but you're earning for a longer period of time. So net, you are earning more money than the person with concentrated liquidity.
Well, the most straightforward strategy just seems to be like, okay, you could go to a pair that you like and look at the APR, try to get, highest APR possible in the tight range, provide it, and then however long it lasts, again, you got to watch it, manage it. And then however long it lasts, it went away, it's out of my range, before it goes too far the other side. Or just, if you got one all Pulse or whatever, you can use that Pulse, go back, buy the piece to start providing with DAI again, whatever you need there. But the point is just chasing the highest APR and just switching around as you need to. Manually, Red Squirrel, you're coming here, automated V3 positions. It sounds like that would be like a major, major thing that you just can't do manually unless you literally sit at the computer and do 1 billion transactions per day. The automated way to do it, is that like a huge deal of just being able to literally like automatically select the highest APR and I provide those ranges, switch them around as much as I need to, but still earning just constant 100,000% stuff? Is that like what everyone's trying to get to?
Maybe not what everyone's trying to get to. It's definitely a strategy, and it's a strategy mostly for people who are at their computer a lot. Maybe people with like online businesses, or maybe they're at work and they have access to their computer so they can keep track of these things all day, like they work from home. And so they can work while also monitoring LP positions. That kind of like yield farm, that kind of like fee chasing mentality can work and can make you some money. But there is risk associated with it, because if it goes out of range, you remove your liquidity and then you buy back in, you're technically taking a loss. Well, if the price is going up, you're not taking a dollar value loss, you're taking an impermanent loss. You're realizing your impermanent loss. If your price goes down and you adjust it, then you do end up taking a loss in dollar value, which makes sense because the price is going down. But if you do that too much, you can really start to chop your main bag up, chop your portfolio value up, or whatever you're trading with, and the fees may or may not account for that. And that's the whole thing. Is like, are the fees that you're earning outweighing any kind of like dollar value loss the coins that you're providing liquidity on experience?
I'm coining it now. APR arbitrage. That's what we got to perfect and get going in an automated way. But I mean, it is something that, yeah, if you go to sit at the computer, even if you have time to do it and click 1,000 buttons and remove positions and like, okay, sell it back before it goes too far. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And it seems like at that point, you're almost questioning, why am I even providing liquidity? Like, how much am I actually making? Am I just breaking even doing this type of thing? Like, what are the profitable, strategies outside of, maybe we'll automate that at some point. And it'll
that can be a profitable
to
strategy if you're good at it. Like, I probably wouldn't have a position that tight because crypto can move more than that. Does typically move more than that in a day, but maybe like plus minus 50% is like a pretty nice range to have. And if you do that, let's see what it's like. You're earning 100% APR. About 100% APR. And in order for price to go out of your range, and either use to dump 50% or go up 50%, right? And so that happens in a day, but it doesn't happen every day. So usually price does stay within a certain range throughout before there are violent moves up. And so maybe you're taking advantage of that chop movement, and then you remove it if you're able to predict when if it's about to go above or below it. Like that's something that you can do without having to move that small range every single time. Other profitable ways is kind of like this, but maybe you increase it out a little bit more so that you're earning fees over a longer period of time and you just don't have to worry about it. And so when you're earning the fees, the chances that it outweighs any impermanent loss is higher because you're earning them for longer. And then the other way is not necessarily being profitable, but having the impermanent loss work in your favor, and that's like buying and selling with LP. So you want to sell like your pulse at a certain price, so you place it above where the die is. And yeah, maybe on paper you're taking a loss, because if you held as the price was going up, you would have more money in the first place, but you were trying to sell at that range anyway. So all those fees are kind of like extra. It's like icing on the cake of like, people are actually paying you to exit your position. So you got the money that you would have got when you sold, plus a little extra because of the fees. And maybe it takes a while for it to move outside of your range, so you earn a lot of fees while doing it.
What about, for example, if we move this down even to 50%, back to 50%, if you look here, you've got to put up, a million pulse, which says around $83 here, but much more die. There a lot of people, for example, another just straightforward thing is, where is the most APR? So like, let me put it, like, let me get like the 700% or let's see what we got before. Yeah, 400%, 700, somewhere through there. And then, but also I want to make it as almost single-sided. I only want to put up pulse. I don't want to put up die. I don't have a die. I don't want die. I just want to put as much pulse as possible, but earn as much fees, in both as possible. So how far can we get it? How far? So if we go all the way, whoops, not that one. So if we go all the way out here, stop pulling that one. So if we do 110%, $11 a die and 83 worth of Pulse, still earn 140%. Is there a strategy there where you're like, okay, I got a bunch of Pulse, but I don't want to hold DAI, or I don't want to hold whatever. I just want to basically do single sided, almost like 90 sided, I don't know, 90-10 type of thing. Is that a strategy, or what, is there places to do stuff like that?
You can do it right here. So click that full range button right there. And then click I understand. Okay, now take that 0 and then pull it a little bit, pull it to where you want it to go. Let's see if that, keep pulling it, wherever you want it to be, like before.
$5.
Yeah. So now, what you've done is you're placing all the Pulse, that 100,000, that 1 million Pulse that you have there. You're placing it from where the price is currently at to infinity. So this is like a half V2 position right now. So you're putting a little bit of DAI in there so that you're earning fees immediately. But for infinitely, as the price goes higher, you will always be earning fees in this position and slowly selling out as the price goes higher. And so this is a way you can take your Pulse with a little bit of DAI and basically earn APR for as long as the price is above where you started your position at. If the price goes lower than your lower band, then you're just completely into Pulse and you're waiting. But you can keep layering positions on top of it if you want. And then as price goes up, now you're earning fees on all those positions. This is a very common strategy, especially in like the meme coin, low market cap coin space, where you're able to get a lot of the supply pretty early if you're on top of it. So you get a couple whale positions, a couple % of the supply, and then you take some of those coins and you do one of these positions, so that now, if you sold those coins, you'd be destroying the price. But now you're kind of supporting the price as price is going up because you're providing coins to the market for people to buy. People are basically getting you out of your position. They're buying up your position and giving you Pulse, usually in the meme coin example. And then you're earning fees that entire time without having to put up more Pulse than like what you bought it with, and then for the LP position itself. So it's a strategy that I like as well. If I'm trying to get into a low cap coin pretty early and I just want to set everything up so that I'm profiting from it and feasibly being able to sell out based on like market dynamics.
Is this something you would do? And like you said, you got a bunch of a coin, and maybe you can't stake it. There's nothing to do with it other than hold it. You're like, well, is there any way to make money with this coin that's low risk or at my risk tolerance level? Is this what you would first thing you think of?
Yeah, this is a very great way to make some income from your crypto, especially if you're towards the bottom and you think price is just kind of going up from there.
Gotcha. And why would you do it on V3 like this instead of just using? Well, I guess the big advantage here is it's kind of like a V2 position, but you don't have to put up much of the other side. You don't really have to put up anything in this.
It's like a half V2 position. So like you're obviously incurring risk by buying this coin, like a meme coin, in this case Pulse, right? But if you were to do a V2 position, you're taking on more risk because you're providing, in our case, DAI to the market for people to sell their Pulse into. So like you're putting value in, and then you're putting more value up that people can use as exit liquidity, for example. In this scenario with this half V2 position, the main risk you're taking is the initial capital that you put in. So if the price would go down and out of your range, well, like you'd still be losing money anyway. Like your situation hasn't changed. But now if price is going up, you're going to be slowly scaling out of your position and earning fees. And you did that without having to put much extra risk on the table. So it's just using the volume of the ecosystem that you're in. It's how do I say this? It's hacking into the volume of the ecosystem that you're in and producing fees from that volume. And that's an option that's always available to any coin that's widely traded on DEX. That's mostly traded on DEXs. So if there's volume on the token, there's the ability to earn income with your tokens, and that's through liquidity providing.
So in the situation where, because of a couple scenarios, so one where, okay, let's say you think over time the Pulse price is going down, and then also the other scenario, over time from today, you think the Pulse price is going up. You think it's just over time it's going up. Those two different scenarios, how could you capture fees? Like, what are the strategies to capture fees in those two scenarios? Whether you think you have a bag of a coin you think is going up, and you're not worried about it for the next 6 months or whatever. You have a bag of a coin you think is going down for the next 6 months and stuff. And you just, for some reason you don't want to sell, or you just think that, hey, I just want to make fees. I think this can be volume. How would you think about those two different scenarios with V3 or V2 even?
So with V2, you just put the liquidity in, and then you're going to be earning fees. Or you do a full range position that's both on the zero and the infinity side. You'll be earning fees no matter what the price does. However, if you want to do it with V3, a way you could do it is like, okay, I think price is going to go lower. It's going to go about into this range. So for the Pulse DAI pool, maybe I put some DAI at the price where I think it's going to be at. And then when it goes in there, you're earning fees in that range. And when you think it's about to go up, you can pull the position, and now you have some Pulse, and you get to capture the price going up. If you think the price is going higher, you can take some Pulse, put it at that higher price. Then as it gets into your range, you're selling out from Pulse into DAI, and you're earning fees as it's trading. If you think it's about to go down low after that, you can pull the position. So you've sold some of your tokens or all of them. And if you think it's about to go up, you can also pull your position again. So you have some Pulse to experience that upward price momentum.
Is there a way, let's say you have Pulse and you just think that Pulse is going up, but you don't want to lose your Pulse, but you still want to earn fees. Is there a way to do that?
Nope.
Or I guess, what is the way to lose the least amount of Pulse while earning the most amount of fees?
Well, that's so that equilibrium right there, that's the main not problem, but that's the main thing you're trying to solve for your personal situation when you're providing liquidity, because those two things that you talked about are inversely proportional. So the more fees you want to earn, the more Pulse you're risking, or the faster you're going to lose your Pulse. If you were like, if the less Pulse you're risking, the slower you're losing it, the less fees that you're earning. The way you said it was inversely proportional. The way I said it was proportional. But generally, like, those two things are at odds with each other. If you're earning more fees, you're losing more Pulse. If you're earning less fees, you're losing less Pulse. But you get what I'm trying to say. I don't think I said it exactly right, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, you can't have one. If you maximize one, you're getting the short end of the stick on the other. If you maximize the other, you're getting the short end of the stick on the first one.
So is the compromise just being in the middle? So you still earn fees, but you will lose less Pulse?
Yeah, that would be like a full range position. That's what that would be, or really, really wide, maybe from like minus 50% to like plus 1,000%. So it's like, if the thing dumps 50%, you're earning fees, or maybe say minus 80%. 80% dip, you're still earning fees. 10x, you're still earning fees. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So but the trade-off is there, like I said before, is you're earning less fees because your coins are spread out over a wider range. But that could be something more in between like a full range position and like a really tight position, is like a wide position. Like, I'd say not a medium-sized one, but a pretty long one. But you're still earning more fees than if you did a full range. So, like, click the full range again. Let's see what those fees are. So yeah, it's that. Now it's 37%. Okay, so now do minus 80%. Actually, you're going to have to refresh now that I think about it. Yeah, just refresh.
Okay.
So yeah, do minus 80%.
Do we hit full range or no?
No, not now.
Okay.
Yeah, minus 80%. That's fine. And then zoom out. And then bring that to plus 1,000%. So that's a 10x. Or plus 900%. That's a 10x. Yeah, and then pick the pool again. You deposit the deposit amount so you can see how much. Right.
38%.
38%. Now click full range. Let me see what the full range is again. 24%. So by basically putting it within a range that is probably going to stay in for a decent amount of time, many months, you're getting paid an extra 14% APR versus a full range position. And so that could be a way that's like, hey, like, I'm losing Pulse's price is going up more slowly, but I'm juicing out an extra 14% APR.
Wow. Yeah, that is interesting. So we did minus 80%, 81%, and then up to 1,000%, and that was 37. But full range from, is this
Zero
Yeah,
to
so
infinity. Yeah.
would be 24%. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the kind of the equilibrium I was looking for. There's got to be like, what is the way, to provide it where it's not full range, but you're taking advantage of not being full range, but also not taking a lot of risk with the position. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. You're welcome, Max.
Okay. I like it.
Glad to
Well,
provide
no,
you content.
I didn't
for your
say
show,
thank
man.
you, but you're
Well, I
welcome.
know you didn't, but I gave you value, so I'm saying you're welcome.
Is that what you call value these days?
Yes.
You just talked a few words.
At least according to C-HUD in the chat, he says great explanation. It helps people. So.
Well, since you mentioned the chat, that's just the guy you planted there to say nice things.
It's just me. It's my alt.
Sihad, yeah. When Sloth turned this way and started typing, that's Sihad. Shout out to Sihad. Good questions, comments. Those are the comments here. Appreciate that. Just joking. Hex edits is here as well. Tin top. What's happening, guys? All right, I'm not going through all chat, but
got some cool people in the
got some cool
chat.
people. I think the other thing. One other thing I wanted to maybe so it's probably interesting for people too. Managing liquidity positions as a provider, maybe a founder, a lot of new coins and stuff. That's like the hot thing. What does it mean to manage a position for price go up? Like what and could you see that? Is it? Yeah. What is it? What are people trying to do when they do that?
Yeah. So that's obviously something every founder wants to do, and I have had people ask me kind of in the background, it's like, hey, like we want to create a coin and we just want to learn a little bit about how to set the LP up to maximize price going up. And one thing I always preface is saying it doesn't matter like how you provide liquidity. There is no substitute for buyers, people buying and not selling, right? It doesn't matter how you set up the liquidity. If people aren't buying, then your price isn't going up. Like there's nothing you can do from a liquidity standpoint to substitute for that. But there are things that you can do to help facilitate the price go up. And so it's kind of that same balance where you need to provide coins to the market for people to trade on, because if there are no coins to trade, then price can't move in the first place. And so if you're having a lot of people buy these tokens up, you want to have enough coins on the market to service the market, right? Like too low liquidity is a bad thing. Even though price can skyrocket, people are going to be disencouraged to buy as price just moves way higher. Or if you're putting in $100 and moving the price up a 3x, like what are we doing here? Like there's nothing like what are we doing? Like there's no like
3x. That's a move for ants. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way to enter or exit a position with any kind of like reasonable size, right? And so as a founder, what you need to do is you need to provide enough liquidity to service the market, but not so much liquidity or so many tokens that people outside of the team or people outside of those who have the best interest for the protocol have a lot of the supply, and two, so much that price can no longer move. The second one is not usually as much of a problem, but the first one, people have run into that problem. Well, they'll take all of the token supply, they'll put it in with say like $2,000 to $3,000 worth of Pulse, and then somebody will come in for maybe like another $2,000 to $3,000. They'll bump up the price up like 2 to 3x because they doubled the liquidity. But now they have like 50% of the supply because they did that. And so they essentially own that token. They own that protocol and they own all of the liquidity and they got it for really, really cheap. So as a founder, what you have to do is basically make sure that you're putting enough coins on the market, but not too many. A good strategy is kind of layering in liquidity as price is going up. So it's like you put some in at the beginning, you let people buy it. And as it goes up, you add some more liquidity. As it goes up, you add some more liquidity. So as the price is going up, you're solidifying those moves with more liquidity, and people haven't been able to buy up the majority of the supply. So there's still a decent amount of coins out there for other people to buy. It is to be distributed amongst a larger group of people versus some people coming in, a small group of people coming in early, getting all the supply, and there's only a little bit left for everybody else.
So it's trying to find a balance between you want there to be enough supply to service the market, however, making that proportional to when buys happen. I guess is it certain ranges too? You want to put it in certain ranges where well, yeah, and I was just thinking of that, of like strategically putting it in certain places where when the buys do hit those ranges, I mean, so as price goes up, people are able to get it, but they got to move the price up to get more supply. That sort of deal.
Exactly. So it's like, as a founder, one question you can ask yourself is, what do I think is a fair price to offer these coins at? And so you can start the price wherever you plan to start it, because maybe you want to have some green candles at the beginning. That's always nice to have a nice chart that goes really, really fast, really up really fast. It looks nice and it's desirable. But maybe it's like maybe 4 to 5x above the price is where you think there's like a fair value for these coins. So you'll take a percentage of supply and place it in a V3 range at that price range that you think is fair for more people to enter in. So the people who get in early get a benefit because they're getting a lot of price go up. And then there's a liquidity block that's like, okay, like this is a price where if more people want to get in, more people can get in. There's more coins here for people to get in at this price. The trade-off is you're going to be slowing down price at that range. But if there's enough buyers, you can eat through it and continue going higher.
Is the managing portion sort of like the staircase of moving the ceiling up, that kind of thing?
Yep, that's another thing. So say you put this position in and it becomes all pulse afterwards, and the prices continue going up. Well, you can trail that pulse higher and higher and higher as the price goes up, so that all of that pulse is now backing the price, but at a higher price, backing the value of the token, but at a higher price. There's a trade-off to that, and that is it takes less of the tokens to be able to drain that pulse. But if like you got a lot of tokens distributed, well, let me think. Actually, yeah. So you get a lot of people distributed. You get a lot of tokens distributed at that lower price, and then you price goes higher, and then you move it up. Well, now the people who bought those tokens at that lower liquidity range can drain that entire pulse pool at a higher price, or it takes less of them to drain it because those tokens are worth more money at those higher prices. So there is some risk associated with that. But a lot of the times, people who are also buying these things are like founders or people who have like a longer term mentality for the project. So it's kind of like calculating out like, okay, who are potential sellers and who are people who are looking to hold for longer or let this thing go up higher. Like that's kind of like the calculus you have to start running.
Long term, that's like 6 months, right?
Exactly. Maybe 6 weeks. But hey, we're in crypto, baby.
10x. Gotta get that. You're either going to 10x up or down. Quick question from Crypto Hustle. How can I choose which token I want to exit to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so why don't you click the die button and then pick another token, some meme coin or whatever you want.
Click the
RHMax. The RHMax token.
There is none. Oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that. Somebody's gonna do it now. Don't do that.
I'll do it now.
I can't control it, but I do not associate. You want to click pulse another coin?
Mm-hmm. Let's pick another coin.
Okay, I'll do EHEX because everybody loves that coin.
Yeah. So Crypto Hustle. This is how you do it. You basically pick 2 coins. So if you want to sell a token, you obviously pick the token that you have. Let's say in this case it's EHEX, and you want to sell it into Pulse. So take one of the bars and drag it to the other side of price so that both bars are at the same side of price. On the same side, yeah. No, make sure they're both on the same side of price. So take the left one all the way to the right, or the right one all the way to the left. Yeah, make it a single side position. Bring it past price. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That gets the idea across. So if you want to sell into Pulse, what you need to do is drag these bars until the only thing that you see is EHEX. Because in this case, you can only sell if price goes up. It doesn't make sense to place coins below where the current price is. If you're trying to sell EHEX, it doesn't make sense to place the coins when the price is lower. You might as well sell where the price is now, which is higher than if it was lower. And so this is the wrong side. This would be if you are buying EHEX with Pulse right now. That's what this position is. So drag both of them to the left of the price bar. And now you'll see it changes. Just bring it all the way over. It doesn't matter. Not all the way, but like bring it over more. Yeah, right there. It's fine. Now, oh, did not switch. Usually it switches. Yeah, bring it all the way over to the left. Okay, there we go. So now you'll see that only EHEX is available to place. So you're placing EHEX at a price where it has a higher value relative to Pulse. And so if price goes up, then EHEX is going to be swapped for Pulse. And so you just have to pick the tokens that you want. If you see there's a button at the right there, it says view prices and wrap pulse. If you click that wrap pulse, it'll flip it. Yeah. And so now it looks a little bit more like, oh, to the right is price go up. So you just flip it so it makes sense to your head and to your eyes. So that to the right is the coin that you want to sell. And as price goes up, you'll be selling into that token.
So it says 0% APR. Is that so what's the difference in earning on this?
It's 0% APR because you have no coins in the current price, right? So when you set this position up, you're not earning any fees.
Oh, that's right. Okay. But so when it does go into that range, then APR will be something because you'll be earning through that. Okay. Follow-up question. Does it mean you're selling at a loss or are those just percentage?
Well, if your entry price is the current price, then you're not selling at a loss. You're selling at a higher price. You can't sell at a loss with LP. You can only market sell as a loss. Those percentages that you just see are the percents above where current price is. So the lower part of your band, your LP position starts at 3% above the current price, and it ends, I don't know what it was. What's the higher band say? 46 pulse price, 2x above price. So your range is between 3% above price and 100% above price. It's just defining the range in a percent terms. Yeah, you're welcome, Crypto Hustle. Good question.
You're welcome, Sloth. One other, let's wrap up on this. I think it'd be good just to give people an idea, like what are some easy things, and just spend a couple minutes on this because I know we already went through in detail, but like people getting into V3, V2 liquidity, anything, what are some like low risk ways? How can you make money with it? But also, what are some ideas where you're like, okay, maybe you shouldn't provide liquidity because it's not gonna be worth it with the coins you have or so. Like, a couple of those options.
Yeah. I mean, if you want maximum price appreciation, then don't provide liquidity. Just hold the tokens liquid.
See, now you make me go down a rabbit hole. So why is it like that feels like the thing everyone's like, oh, but why would I provide liquidity? I'm just going to get in permanent loss and it sucks. But then liquidity is so popular and there's all these ways to collect fees. And like, how do you, what is the way to think about that?
Yeah. So that's more of a portfolio management question where it's like, okay, how many coins do you want to get maximum price appreciation for? What coins do you want to turn from increasing your net worth via price appreciation versus creating income? So you're taking your assets and you're making them productive by having them produce income via fees and liquidity providing. The trade-off for that is you lose maximum amount of price appreciation. So it's like, hey, maybe if this thing does a 10x, I'm only going to get a 5x. But during that whole time the 10x was happening, I'm getting an income every single day that I can bring into my real life. So it's like, the coins from now to when it gets a 10x, I don't get the money until it's like a 10x. Or if I'm slow, or if you're planning to DCA out on the way up, you might as well do a liquidity position so that you're earning fees and earning passive income while the price is going up in the first place.
So the scenario where you wouldn't want to provide liquidity is if you have a coin that you think is going to go up in value and you want to get max price appreciation.
Yeah. You would not provide liquidity in that case. What you're giving up is the ability to earn an income, but the return for that is maximum price appreciation.
Is there an analogy for, I feel like there's like a rental, like a real estate analogy here. Like you're kind of like you're renting your vacation house but then it could also go up in price. Is there some real world, I guess, yeah, that's quite, is there like some real world analogies for people to kind of understand like whether the LP or not?
That's a good question. I have to think about that. Yeah, I don't know. Not off the top of my head, I can't think of one that's like that.
I kind of feel like renting is one, like where you have something, you're renting it out, you're earning fees, people are paying you, but also, it doesn't address, of course, the price appreciation part because I guess if they're doing damage to the house, I don't know. We get pretty granular on this, but yeah. Anyone in the chat, let us know if you have one too. I think that'd be good for new people who are like just coming into it.
To create, yeah. I'll think about that.
One other question from Crypto Hustle. What's the difference providing LP different dexes? For example, PulseX 9 inch is 70% APR, while the same pool in PulseX V2 is 19%. Do I have more risk providing to 9 inch or just in general? Like what is the difference? APRs?
Well, in this case, I don't know if in Crypto Hustle, let me know if you're talking about like the farm APRs or the fee APRs. Because in V2 dexes, maybe it's paying 70% APR, but that's not the fee APR. That's like the amount of That's the BBC APR you're earning by participating in the farms.
At that point, you got to decide which token you want to earn, like which one and you got to weigh that stuff. But
exactly.
You said okay. You said farm. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you have more risk providing it to 9-inch, and the answer to that is not really. The only difference in risk is that it's like different dexes. So if there is a bug or a security risk with 9-inch that doesn't exist on PulseX, then you're exposed to that risk if you're doing a 9-inch and not PulseX. And the same is true in the reverse as well. But if there's something wrong with PulseX, we got a bigger problem than if something is wrong with 9-inch, just because it's the main DEX where most of the liquidity is. Yeah. But in terms of like your impermanent loss risk, it's the exact same. So if the difference is what token do you want to earn? Do you want to earn INC or do you want to earn BBC?
I guess a good question from this too is there, it's kind of like LP arbitrage, I guess you could say, of like which protocols or which platforms, which pools can you join that are giving the most fee. That's what you would look at, like which ones are giving the most fee. So you have two pairs, you have multiple pools with the same pairs, they're providing different volume, different fees and stuff like that.
Well, if you want to earn INC, but you want to get 70%, you can provide your tokens on 9-inch and then take your BBC token and sell it for INC, right? Like buy INC with it. So you're earning 70% on your dollar value, and then you're taking that money and you're swapping it for INC, basically.
I'm talking about just with LP, like not outside of farms. If you see multiple pools that you can earn, are you picking which one you're going to earn the most fees in, whether it's V2 or V3, or like how are you deciding based on multiple pools for the same pairs?
Like across V2 and V3?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm sure there's multiple pools with different, or are they just like, what does, for Pulse and DAI, for example, is there just like, okay, you got one pool that's just got millions of dollars, and then a couple other pools that are the same pairs, but they only have like a few hundred K and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, this one probably has the most volume, the most. But yeah,
those are all things you'd have to consider if you're going between like different V2 pools.
Or V3 as well, or is there a difference?
Well,
as far as like
the decision between V2 and V3 is a little different, because you kind of have to ask yourself, like, what are my goals? Am I trying to exit? Do I want a longer term position? How do I want the fees that I'm earning to be structured? Do I want them auto compounded, or do I want them sequestered to the side? Like there are more variables that go in first choosing between V2 and V3 before you even get to the question of which pool do I participate in. So it's like first you have to decide V2 or V3, and then from there you decide like which pool you want to be in. They're like different decision trees.
That's a very fundamental point that we went back and forth before too, because I was like, on V2, man, why isn't there a thing that says how much fees you made so far? And I still feel like there's a way to do that. I still feel like there's some platform that could take the blockchain data and you could see that, because if it is auto compounded and you got your percentage of the pool, it should be able to figure that out. I don't know why that isn't presented. Maybe it will be someday.
But I mean, they quote you APRs. Like you're still quoted APRs on those pools. Yeah. The way you could figure it out is, oh man, I forgot how to do this. So you take the volume, you multiply it by the fee tier, and that is the total amount of fees that were paid out. Let's say it's the daily APR, the daily volume. Total amount of fees being paid off. The volume times the fee percentage is the amount of fees paid that day. Then what you can do is take your percentage of the pool. Say it's like 1% of the pool. Multiply 1% by the fees earned that day, and that's the amount of money you earned that day. So you remove that dollar value from the pool if you want to harvest those fees. That's the way you can do it.
Right. Yeah. So you don't, just for everyone listening to, on V2, it's just auto compounded back in the pool, and you can collect the fees when you collect everything when you remove your position. Versus V3, you got everything in the you just have a button that says collect fees there. They run up over time, hopefully, and you don't need to remove your position, and you can collect fees through that.
Hey, Seahad has a question for you, Max.
If I would like the opinion of both of you on subject 30 calls, that is. First of all, you're funny. Second of all, see this gentleman below me here. Also, probably you do that, right? You do some
Yeah,
consultation.
I do consultations. Yeah.
Let me go to Crypto Sloth's Twitter here, and he can get you some information. Sloth Crypto 3. Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
look at that.
Actually,
I popped straight up on your search bar.
I've googled you before.
Or something.
I've typed in the Sloth's name a couple times to tell people, not to buy his stuff, basically.
Don't go over here. Here's
don't go
to this link.
You don't want to know what he's working on. You don't want to know. Okay, and then it's a pro membership. So do you have the by the hour deal, or you just have the pro membership?
I have a by the hour deal. So if you want 30 minutes of my 30 minutes of my time, that's the rate right there. If you're not in my private group, so if you're in my private group, you get like a 30% discount or something like that. You get $100 off basically of the 30-minute one, and $200 off the 60-minute one-on-one. So that's up to you. Yeah, those are my rates. If you want to DM me beforehand, just to talk about it, like what you want, feel free to do that. My DMs on Twitter are open.
Sloth is one of the few people. How can I say this? I was talking to him in the green room. I was like, at least in our community, we have people providing a lot of value. There's a lot of communities, people are just out there like, oh yeah, I'll tell you a story and narrative, and like here's some price calls. There's actually a lot of people in the community who actually have put in a lot of work to provide value. And Sloth to admit, but he's one of those people, I guess. And
I appreciate that, Max. It's very nice of you. And yeah, see how
I'm not saying anything like that about you, but time to time.
Yeah, the private Telegram, the $97 a month subscription may be the best option for you, because every Sunday at 2 p.m. EST we do strategy calls, and so you can just ask me a question that you want there, and it's not going to be like a one-on-one necessarily, but it'll be kind of like a one-on-one where it's like you can ask me questions directly, we can talk about it, and then with everybody else in the group we talk about it as well. So that's probably the cheapest option. If you just wanted 30 minutes, or like you had like one topic you wanted to cover, that's probably how you can do it the cheapest. Or you could ask me in like the DMs in the Telegram chat room as well. So probably that'd be a good place to start.
Timo Cat here to
$300 for half an hour.
Timo Cat here to shut you down real quick. Not entirely correct with the calculation, as you do not know how much the daily volume will trade in your range on V3. Actually, interesting point.
I was talking about V2, not V3.
Okay, on V3 we have the calculator. That's true.
Yeah, I was talking about how to calculate your daily dollar value that you made in the past 24 hours based on a V2 position for the quotes provided.
Almost got you.
Almost got me, Timo Cat, but I appreciate you the critical eye.
That is a good observation. Someday Sloth will be explaining that on V3. He'll slip up, and that'll be actually correct. But no, good listening. Appreciate
my entire business model will crumble underneath me.
Once people see that your website has 100% satisfaction guarantee, I don't know if they're going to want to. It needs to be like 110% at least. Yeah. I think.
If I don't provide you value, I pay you.
That's actually they have lawyers and stuff, like if they don't win the case, you pay nothing. Yep. I wonder, could you actually get by? Could you be so good, Sloth, that you guarantee, if I guess there is a way to do this where, like, if they lose money, you cover it. Yeah. Is that going to wreck your business model?
I think we're starting to get into financial advice at that point.
Oh, okay, that's true. We don't do that. We don't. You're
kind of making an inherent promise of returns there, which I do not. In fact,
is it though? Is it? You're kind of promising that the only thing you're promising is I will cover if you lose based on this specific strategy. Uh-huh. Which, again, we can debate the merits of that, but like, you're not really promising returns. You're promising they can't lose. There's a way. I feel like there's a way for that to be legit, like in a nice, ethical way. I'm not sure though. Huh. Sloth, I don't appreciate you enough. I try to tell you that from time to time. Just to keep coming on the show.
Of course. And, for selfish interest, I really appreciate you, man. You do great work. That's good.
I mean, we could do selfless banter for an hour. At the end, I gotta be like, all right, be nice to him. Content's got to come from somewhere. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate you too, Max. You're doing a great job with your content. I admire the consistency. I I will say
Don't
you have
encourage me. I don't want to stream every day. Stop
definitively
encouraging me. Stop encouraging me.
you've definitively beat me in the content creator competition that we had early on, like a year and a half ago.
The silent competition.
Yeah, the silent competition. I concede. I have lost. You are the better content creator. Congratulations.
Well, we got to be. I don't want to name. I don't want to name it or me. It's probably a very short list. However, I'll give you that. If you want to compliment again, do not encourage me. I will stream every day. Keep encouraging. People say appreciate you. They say thank you for consistency. They say all these nice things. It just makes me want to keep going even harder. I don't know if that's the best way to go. I think that the best thing to do is starting to get Sloth to stream more, and Gifford Ware to start talking about his amazing stuff, and start getting all these other people so we can scale. It can't just be me and Tommy every day. I can't be your feed every day. I mean, I have been for a while if you've subscribed, but I'm not sure I want to do that and not be paid for it, because that's how it goes.
Yeah. Shout out to Executioner and Red Squirrel in the chat. Two great guys. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm doing a collaboration with them with Trinity.
Talk about Trinity for a minute. Let's wrap up on that. How can we trade your sloth tokens for squirrels and ocelots?
Yeah, so we're launching a contract called Trinity. Shout out to Executioner and Red Squirrel for doing a lot of that legwork, and they've kind of brought me on into the process, which I've been very appreciative of. But it's a contract that's like an escrow contract that you can take any of our NFTs, squirrels, ocelots, or sloths. If you put it into the contract, it spits you out 555 of the respective token. There is a fee associated with using the contract, so it's not exactly 555, but like you'll get these tokens out, and then you can put 555 into the contract and get an NFT out of the contract if there's NFTs in there. And so this is like a way to we were talking in the background, Max, like some people have had problems buying these NFTs on different marketplaces just because some of them are kind of buggy and the transactions aren't going through perfectly well every time. Well, now you'll be able to buy or sell any of these NFTs without having to go to a marketplace directly. You'll be able to go to the liquidity pools that we're going to set up to buy the token. And if for some reason there's some value that having the NFT has that you want, you can take those tokens and exchange it for an NFT in the contract. So this is kind of solving a problem with NFTs to a degree where they're very illiquid in nature because they have to go on a secondary market, and you need a one-to-one buyer and seller to agree upon a price. So it's not like a token where at any price you can trade them because there's liquidity pools and they're fungible. So you can swap them in and out, and the rate at which you do it is determined by the price of the token in the liquidity pool. NFTs don't have that benefit because they're non-fungible, and so they're very, very illiquid. What this contract is doing is giving our NFTs the liquidity of ERC20s and the functionality of like PRC20 contracts, while also still having the ability to have the functionality of PRC 721 contracts, which are the NFT contracts. So we're kind of fusing the NFTs are becoming more than just the NFT. They're becoming tokens as well. You can have one or the other. And the three of us, we all plan to provide value in different ways, right? Like I have the stuff that I create. Executioner does really cool stuff. Red Squirrel does really cool stuff. One thing all of us are going to do together when Tetra comes out is like create scripts and stuff. So that's like one collaboration, one thing of value that all three of us are going to do together, but we're also going to do things differently. Me and Executioner worked a lot together in the early days of Hedron and Icosa. I was kind of like the YouTube guy. He was like the admin in the Telegram chat, like running voice chats for like hours and hours and hours. And he talked a lot about liquidity providing before I did, and I learned a lot from him. And then obviously Red Squirrel, we all know his famous flow charts with all the stuff that he likes to do, arbitrage, liquid loans, earn protocol, et cetera, et cetera. So all of us are going to create value independently. And what I like to describe the Trinity contract as is an infrastructure layer. So it's not like a complete thing in of itself. Like it is, but it's not the whole thing. It's a layer for us to individually build and provide value, and then have that value be funneled back into a singular place. So not only do the people who support me get the value of the stuff that I create, both on and off the blockchain, but they also get the benefit of anything that Red Squirrel or Hexecutioner creates, because their value gets funneled in, and via arbitrage, the ratios of our tokens and hence our NFTs adjust as well. So all three of us create value, and there's like a synergistic effect where when one of us creates value, the other two get benefits, which bolsters their stuff to eventually funnel value back to go the other way. So this is something I'm really, really excited for. And the only way to participate is to have these NFTs if you want to participate off the bat. If not, you participate by buying the token afterwards.
I'm in it for the tech comes to mind.
Yep.
And that quote and all that. And this animal escrow exchange thing you're doing here. It's
yep.
monkey pictures for squirrel pictures, and you got a lot of different animals and a lot of different flavors of ice cream. And
we called I just thought about this now, Red Squirrel and Hexecutioner. We'll call it at Trinity, the contract. But whenever we have like staking platforms or whatever, we should call that the petting zoo.
I like that. I was thinking of animal escrow. How can we do this? Like a petting zoo. I like it.
Petting zoo. Yeah.
The petting zoo, the Trinity. It almost sounds like a cross between a church and a zoo. Mm-hmm. You guys got time. You got time.
We got time.
I don't want to give you all the good ideas, but you got time.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that's something I'm excited about. Keep an eye out for more streams on that stuff with me and Hexecutioner. Red Squirrel's a little shy. He's a little shy guy, so he doesn't like coming on, but we're going to peer pressure him to get him on.
Well, if he ever wants to come on, we're going to do 100% uptime, episode number 22 with all three of you. Only if Red Squirrel agrees. Only if Red Squirrel agrees, I will happily host the opposite of 0% downtime, that ripoff of a syndicated media package that somebody came up with.
You hear that, Red Squirrel? So if you want Trinity to be successful and you want to take advantage of Max's audience, you got to get on stream, buddy. If not, you're just screwing all of us over.
Well, you just fired me. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Yes. Yeah, very, very fun. I am interested in the tokenized, I would say this before. I'm not very interested in NFTs, but tokenized NFTs I think are interesting. And the ability to, the escrow thing and just the I think there's some cool tech there. So I'm glad you guys are working on some. We got a lot of cool tech. I got Gift's going to come on at some point, talk about permeable tokenomic stuff. Squirrel's he's gonna do audio only sometime, maybe, who knows, and come on and talk about that. 100% uptime, number 22, boys. Let's do it.
Yep. Look at all of us OG Hedron people creating our own stuff now. Look at us go.
And that's true. That's true. I mean, you've all forgot about Hedron, and that's why it dumped 0, right? So
that's exactly why.
Thanks for that, I guess.
You're welcome.
we need Alex to do Icosa Hedron to bring this thing back. Rocket pool, baby. Come on, let's do it.
Yep. Hey, the man works on his own time, but whenever he publishes things, I'll be at the ready to break it all down.
Yes, you're first, and I'll be second. If Sloth's like, I'm too busy, I got my platform thing, I'll be like, okay, Alex from Hedron, yes, you can come on my show. I want the privilege to say that.
That's funny.
He did come on a long time ago.
You're like, hey, Alex is like, hey, I want to talk about it. I was like, well, I got Sloth on for the slot to talk about it. I'll fit you in whenever he's done.
I've scheduled. You have like some launch thing that's totally flexible. It's already booked today, man. Alex, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
Ask Max. He said he wanted to talk to you or something. I don't know.
Wait your turn, buddy.
Yeah, Sloth's an important person now. I mean, he's always been important in our hearts, but he's like a real guy now.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate everyone. I know this is not your normal RHMax show. I like to have a bro down every once in a while with Sloth and specific people like that. So appreciate you, Sloth. Again, we banter a lot, but you are invaluable, I think, objectively speaking.
Appreciate you, Max. Thanks for having me on. I always have fun. And, I like to take full credit for all of your success because I'm the one that got you into streaming in the first place. So all of your success is mine. So I just end up winning in the first place.
Not wrong. I mean, you could have been like, I want to take all your success because I stopped streaming and let you get all the other subs and all this stuff. You could have said that. So you were nice, I guess, in that way. But all the way true. All right, man. Again, appreciate you coming on, everyone. Hopefully you had your entertainment, your infotainment for your Saturday. Hope you're having a good weekend. Maybe we'll have a show tomorrow. Maybe we won't. No promises, no expectations. That's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.